Welcome, folks. It's a new day. We're so glad that you've joined us today. My name is Chris Stegg, and I've got my good friend and co-host Chris Widener here with me today. And each week you can find us on YouTube at bigmoradio.com. You can find us on all your social media channels wherever you choose to get your what is this? Advice, just mentorship, motivation, the momentum. That's what we're going to do here today. Is we're going to actually build some momentum. We want to find out ways that we can grow and build our business and build leadership. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So you can find us at bigmoradio.com, and we're adding stuff there each and every single week. And find us, like us, reach out to us. If you want to work with us, you can inquire, and we'd love to sit down and have a visit with you. So we're going to be talking through today how to become someone worth following. And I've got Chris Widener is here, and he's written 22 books now, right, Chris? And a great book. Fantastic book that he's written called The Art of Influence. We're gonna kind of talk through some nuggets, some things in there that will help you today, and ultimately the Big Mo Real Estate Radio is the big three. I want to help. You're gonna get motivated. There's no doubt. We're gonna build momentum and ultimately make more money. And the influence, what is influence? What is influence, Chris? And how do we, let's get started. Let's dive deep into this subject today and how to become someone worth following. So, Chris.
Well, first of all, you introduced me and you introduced yourself, but you didn't introduce the guy behind you who's always back there working tirelessly to get you your coffee.
He's there every week, and it's like he doesn't move. He just kind of,
He's focused. He is focused. I mean,
focused. And his coat is right over here, always on that seat for some reason. So yeah,
very strange. So, maybe he's a coworker. I didn't know. I thought maybe
a coworker. Yeah, it's my office.
What is influence? Well, I always define influence as the ability to change other people's thoughts, beliefs, and actions. So when you talk to them, when you're engaging with them, when you're making a presentation to them, or when you're just living in proximity to them or working in proximity to them, how do you change their thoughts, beliefs, and actions? And so that's what leaders do. And that's why we want to have influence and we want to become leaders. It's because we want to be able to change other people's thoughts, beliefs, or actions. I mean, imagine how your business would change if you increased your ability to change other people's thoughts, beliefs, and actions, what they think about you, what they think about the market, what they believe about the market and the economy, and then their actions. Are they going to sign on the dotted line? Are they going to buy? Are they going to sell? And so, in your marriage, same thing. Wouldn't you like to be able to change your spouse's thoughts, beliefs, or actions, or your children's thoughts, beliefs, or actions? So I'm excited to talk to you today about what we need to do to become those types of people who are worthy of being followed and worthy of being leaders. And so really looking forward to this discussion today.
And we're talking to a bunch of leaders here, and we're talking to a good mix of folks. And this is primarily a real estate radio show. We're both in the real estate space, but so much of real estate can be applied into the business, and of course into the mindset and just how we go about building our businesses. And if you're a real estate agent and you're not thinking from a business mindset, and it's just simply a realtor mindset, it's transactional. There's not a whole lot of business mindfulness that's there. And some of these things that we're going to be talking about today are going to be really more around the business minded real estate agent. So you want to think as if you're a business owner, because you are a business owner. You're not just a realtor, you're a real estate agent who happens to be a business owner.
And the difference here, Chris, that I think is some people, let's say they're with Coldwell Banker, right? Or it could be anything, EXP, it could be whatever one you want to talk about. They tend to think, well, I work for Coldwell Banker, or I work for Century 21, or I work for Remax, right? You don't work for them. That's the brand that you've partnered with. You are not an employee. You don't have a boss. You are running your own independent real estate company, and you're brokering through your agent like EXP or, my mother, when I was growing up, my mother worked for just a little regional one called McPherson's in Seattle, just owned by, I can't remember his name, but I met him a bunch of times. He had 7 or 8 different deals, right? So it doesn't matter. She wasn't working for him. She was working with him and partnered with his brand. Same thing 40 years later, 50 years later now, is you have to see yourself, like Chris was saying, as a business owner and view it like you're running a business, not like you're working for somebody else.
That's exactly right. There's a great book. There's a great book years ago, gosh, probably 20 years ago, I read it for the first time. It's the Cash Flow Quadrant. And it talks through, there's 4 quadrants. And a lot of the people here that are listening today got out of the 9 to 5, got out of their working for the man type
trying
job,
to right now,
trying to move over to the right side, which is the BNI, the business owner and the investor. And then on the left side, you've got the employee mindset, and you got the self-employed mindset where you're not quite over to the right. So some people are just stuck in that self-employed, and it means like this: if you're going on a 2-week vacation with your family, but you always got to have your phone in like your hip pocket, and you can never break free of that because you need to be back at home. But when you're a business owner, you've got a team, you got people, you got help, you got an organization that you can go and leave your phone in your cabin, in your hotel room, and just go be with family. And it's just a different shift. And so when you can start to think about yourself as a business owner who happens to be a real estate agent, things can change, and I like what you said, Chris. It's a partnership. I mean, I have a partnership with my broker. They're there for a reason, they're there for a purpose, but I don't rely on them for my personal business. I have to go out and I have to get it.
Yeah, if you stopped doing anything, your broker wouldn't do anything to sell houses for you. And that doesn't matter which broker you're with. And my wife and you are with the same broker, and we love it. But if we stopped working, there would be no more money. They're not going to, hey, Chris, we got a few houses for you to sell. Or no, it's never going to happen. It doesn't matter which one you're with, no matter how much you love them. So let's talk then about how do you become that really great business leader? Because a person can own a business and still be a bad business leader. Anybody can go down and file paperwork, and if they have enough money, they can start hiring people. Doesn't mean they're going to be good and effective leaders, or that people are going to perceive them with admiration and respect and those kinds of things. So why don't we dig into a little bit of that? Like what are those characteristics of people who end up having that kind of influence and becoming those kinds of leaders?
Yeah, this goes into the shift of you work for a Coldwell Banker, if you work for Remax, if you work for a mom and pop, brokerage, EXP, Keller Williams, whatever it may be, you have a partnership with them. When you take ownership in your business, when you take ownership in your industry, in this case, a real estate agent, things begin to change. You begin to create a community, a following, if you will. I'll give you a great fresh example. Is that I have the Steg Golf Property Group. I mean, that's what I have, and I'm brokered by my brokerage. I'm brokered by my brokerage, but I've been able to develop a following, and it just naturally comes because I enjoy the game. Years ago, I thought, how cool would it be? I love being a business owner. So check that off the list. I'm a real estate agent who's a business owner. I love the game of golf, and so, okay, boom, check that off. I can speak the language. I like the game. I play the game. And then third is I love people. Like I love fellowship. I like community. I like serving, and so we've got a charity involved with our company. And so those things combined, I mean, it comes so naturally to you that it makes what we do fun. We have this saying, it kind of goes along with making real estate fun again. I mean, when you can have fun with what you're doing, it's really not work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so just recently, Chris, we have a golf outing. I started a golf group here in Austin, Texas
I know,
area.
I see it on Facebook. You got to go hit Top Golf and you go do these different things. And
It's
yeah,
fun, man. And so we have these little group outings. And what's fun is when you can start doing this, it started small, and then you start to build an audience, and you build it around that atmosphere of just come have fun, come have food, let's play a little golf, let's meet some people, you're going to network. And what you've done is you've created a following, you've created a fun, inviting atmosphere that that what's going to come from that is really not the focus on creating this fun atmosphere. You're going to get business because all these past clients that you've invited, they're going to bring their friends. And here's the cool thing is that we've got sponsors, we've got people that we have partnered with over the years that I have very little out of pocket. You know, you can get good with meeting with others that are real estate centric. We talked about this on a previous episode. Use those relationships and they can come to these events and be there. I mean, it's an opportunity for them.
so it sounds like in regard to what you've done to garner a following and to be considered worthy of a following is the sort of the two first things that we've talked about is to define in a way a niche. You're creating a following of realtors who are interested in golf. So you've defined that. The realtors who are interested in knitting or dog training or that, they're not your tribe, right? They're not your tribe. So, but once you find that niche, creating some fun in that niche, making sure that people are having fun, they're enjoying it, they're getting something out of it, obviously, but creating that atmosphere and that culture of fun. Is that an accurate assessment?
That's it. That's it. There's I'll tell you what's even more exciting here. And guys, you can do this in any niche. We talked about this. I think we'll dive deeper into this, building a brand, building your brand in future shows here. But this could be applied to any niche, whether you serve downtown condos. I mean, there's so many ways that you can start to build onto that. Oh my gosh, I could go into specific things it's not necessarily real estate related, but it is because you're building relationships and you're building a following. There's something special. I want to be around that guy. I want to be around that gal. I want to get up. I want to go to that event because it's fun.
Yeah.
And so you can do this equestrian homes. You can do this in a specific geographical area, a small niche. You can do this in the community in where you live.
They have neighborhood watch and next door neighborhood and all that kind of stuff and
all that stuff. So you can build that. And so, I have some clients of mine that there's a country club, if you will, about 40 minutes from here where I work, and I set up a fun driving range. I mean, so if you know anything about the game of golf, Pro V1s are the driving range golf balls. They're leather satchels. I mean, they hang out there. It's Zoysia fairways. It's the real deal. And so I was able to set up some time with the club pro and the driving range to give them a little bit of a feel for the atmosphere.
right.
Well, it had nothing to do with the home that they're buying or that they will buy. It has everything to do with the experience, the atmosphere, memorable, something that's memorable. They will remember this far long past the actual transaction.
Yeah, and I guarantee you other realtors aren't taking them down and creating that kind of experience and such. So
it's not. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. What are some character traits that leaders who garner followers, what is it about people that are magnetic? I mean, really, we're talking about people who are magnetic. They attract people. People want to be with them, want to be in business with them, and sometimes even want to be them. If you really get a great reputation, those kinds of things. So, what are some of those character traits that those kinds of magnetic people? I mean, we talk about charisma, for example. Charisma is an interesting word to me. My mom taught me to love words, probably one of the reasons I became an author. But charisma is interesting to me because it means gifts of grace.
Mm,
In the original language that it was written, epitomology, I think they call it, it means gifts of grace. To have charisma means to be graceful, to be able to just walk through the crowd, like almost like you're just floating, and it doesn't have to be that you have to be James Bond or, Sophia Loren or somebody like that. Charisma, there are people who have, there are really great looking, gorgeous people that wear tuxes and ball gowns that have charisma. And then there's a bunch of them that are just total dolts and bores. And then you can find truck drivers, who just everybody loves them and they've got charisma and there's just attraction. And it wouldn't matter whether you're rich, poor, middle class, high class, there are people who attract other people. And what are some of those characteristics other than, for example, just the natural charisma that somebody might have?
Well, I think the first word that comes to mind is just their enthusiasm. They're enthusiastic. They just have there's a joy for life. It's a new day, new opportunities, new people to meet. There's a plan of action. There's something about them that just go, man, that person's just enthusiastic.
Well, they produce energy. Maybe you walk in and you're at a level 5 for the day, and you walk in and here's this 9.5, just happy to be there, and everything's exciting. And as long as it's not a 14 can be really annoying. If you're a 14 on a scale of 1 to 10, you need to dial it back a little bit. But you walk in and you're working at a 5 that day and you're around a 9.5, and all of a sudden you feel like you're at a 7. They uplift you, they bring you up, they energize you. Some of that enthusiasm is contagious. Yeah,
that's good. Another word that might come to mind is just being approachable. Being teachable. You're always learning. You always want to listen. Yeah, and because you're always learning from. Those are some good things.
When you're not approachable, it sort of exudes. What would I say? It exudes sort of condescension. Maybe.
Okay.
The reason you can't come to me or approach me is because I'm better than you. Would be. I suppose it could be because I'm terrified and I'm afraid and I'm an introvert. But I think on the other side, for most people, it would be I'm better than you. Don't approach me. Don't come near me. Or like some of these stars in their contract writers, never look Mrs. Jones in the eyes.
Yeah, that'll turn you off. That really over time. There's instances where. That's a part of just, the moment, if you will, but for the most part, someone that's approachable, someone that can look you in the eye and listen to you and not drift from that. That's someone, man, that's.
Well, and you know what? It's especially more impressive the more successful you become. Right.
Yeah.
So let's say you're year 2 or 3 and you're doing 3 million a year in production. And by year 15, year 15, you're doing 25 million or 30 million. You're just killing it, right? And you're busy and you're on the cover of the local Realtors magazine and you just got an award for Realtor of the Year from the Chamber of Commerce. And that's when people expect that you won't be accessible anymore or approachable. And then when you are, when you get that award for Realtor of the Year at the Chamber of Commerce or whatever, and people want to talk to you, and then they come up and you just spend all that time with them talking to them or whatever, then they're going to be like, I can't believe she's so approachable. I thought she'd be arrogant. She's the biggest realtor in our town, And so I think that the more successful you get, the more it's impressive that you remain approachable.
That's right. Pursuing humility is another one. Humility, I think, is a big one. That's a character trait. I also know that you think of people that are just are infectious. You think of these people like what is it about these people that just keeps you coming around them, and you start thinking about who they are. They're hospitable. They open up their homes. We have an old friend of ours, a friend of the family, and just out of the goodness and goodness of his heart, he gives his lake cabin with this boat and jet skis and just saying, y'all just go. I've been able to come to a place in life where I just, it's not about things. It's about the things that I have. It's about blessing others. It's not about it's not fun. It's like when you go on I mean, Chris, and you, Denise, go on a trip, and it's like, it's fun to go with just yourselves, but you go with like 3 or 4 other couples, and you got this fun. It's like, what's the couples retreat?
Yeah. We just did that back about 6 months ago. We went down the US Virgin Islands with a couple of other couples, and it was a ton of fun.
It's just fun. It's just fun, and I'm like, that's we love that. And so
what's really fun is when you get to the point where you're generous and you call them up and say, hey, we're taking you on this trip.
That's it.
And then, and you bless other people. And I'll tell you what, that stuff all comes back. The more you give, the more you get. And I believe that. It's a universal principle. We should do a whole show on this sometime. You reap what you sow. It's the most universal principle. Works in agriculture, it works in love, it works in business, that you reap what you sow. And when you start sowing these things that we've been talking about, kindness and generosity and charisma and service, we haven't even talked about service yet. When you're serving other people, when they know that you're considering their interests more important than your interests, doesn't mean that you don't consider your own interests. It just means that you're concerning yourself with your client's interests as more important than your own. It means that you're willing to not try to push them in a specific direction because it means a bigger commission. I like the $720,000 house. I think it fits you better than the $640,000 house, right? If you really know that the $640,000 house, a servant mentality says it's your needs before my needs. And then that's the kind of thing, my book of Art of Influence, I talk about how that service attitude creates loyalty. And, the easiest way, and I mean easy by just effort, the easiest way to build your long-term business is to get people who are loyal to you, because they're going to build your business for you. They're going to start telling other people about you, and you don't have to start making or keep making phone calls and doing mailers. I mean, you probably should, but if you get to the point over a course of 10 years where you've just got hundreds of loyal people who are referring people to you, you won't have to do much or any of that.
It's like the example we gave on a previous episode where we talked about, you got this big box retailer, in right directly behind you, and then you got this mom and pop hardware store that's been there for years. Think about down here in Austin, we've got the Motor Mile. I mean, there's car dealerships after car dealerships after car dealerships after car dealerships.
Here's Scottsdale too.
You got that, and then think about a fitness center. You've got one on each corner, and they're all just a pitch and wedge or sand wedge.
For me, probably an 8-iron.
An 8-iron. And so, but
I'm pretty accurate with my short game. I just don't hit it. I'm a big guy. I'm strong, but I don't hit the ball very far. I don't have a lot of down the. It's probably I know what it is. It's my club head speed. So I know what it is.
For those of you who don't know, that Chris and I actually met on the golf course in Scottsdale, and there was something about the altitude or something, or it was the I don't know, dry air.
Beer. I think it was the beer.
It was a beer. Maybe it was those wet towels that they would have at every fourth hole, and I'm like, oh, it's so refreshing. But it was about 117 degrees at 10 a.m. in the morning. But
that was like June or something. I think
it was. Yeah,
it was back in like February, wasn't it? But it was
May.
Really hot. Oh,
it was hot. It was yeah. So, but you start thinking about these folks and how they've been able to attract an audience, how they've been attractive following. They're influencing. They've been able to realize the importance of knowing someone's name.
Because it shows concern. It shows care. It shows affection. Yeah.
It's a transaction versus a relationship. There's a big difference. So many realtors are all about transactional. Where can I get the most leads? Where can I get where can I go that's going to give me the most transactions, and yada 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 yada. But if you can think relational, how to develop that relationship like this hardware store and you got this big box retailer, why are they still there in business? It's
Well, I think
because
it's personal touch, and people
personal
like to
touch.
have somebody that knows their name, and and those kinds of things. And no, I think being optimistic is really big. I
Mhm,
think that people like to be around people who are optimistic.
mhm.
And I don't mean optimistic like projecting the future, although I think projecting a positive future is far more engaging and attractive to other people than being a pessimist. Oh, the economy is going to be terrible. No, we'll probably get a housing slump. I don't know. Here it comes, Margaret. And it's just like there's that you could be a little more optimistic, even if you're being a realist. I think
Mhm.
it's a perspective on it's how you view and project those views about any particular given topic. And I just think that people want to be around people who are going to be on the bright side every day. Instead of going, oh, it's so hot out, say, isn't the sunshine beautiful?
Mhm.
Aren't we glad we don't live in the Antarctic? It's all about how you choose to perceive it and then project those beliefs. And the way you do that has a significant effect on whether or not people are attracted to you and want to follow you.
Yeah, yeah, it is it is, it's so much, it's just so much of a mindset and a gratefulness, for being able to do what you do. I think a lot of the times we might get up in the morning, we're so focused on, you know, the things that we have to do that day, than just going like, why? I mean, you were able to get up today and have a breath of fresh air. And I mean, you're sitting down with your family, at the breakfast table. You've got, an opportunity today to meet some new people. But we're so much into the grind, and so much of what people want to do is you start thinking about these people that are infectious. You start thinking about these people that just are fun to be around. I guarantee you, they wake up and they have their moments. They have their moments. We all have our moments,
Yeah.
but they get up and there's a joy. There's just this heart of gratitude and this
Well, I like to
thankfulness.
do it in the morning and in the evening.
Yeah.
It's the first thing I try to think of in the morning. Thank you, God, for letting me wake up again, because there will be a day that I won't. And hopefully it's about 40 years from now, but there will be a day, right? And so, and then going to bed at night, and again, maybe even had a crappy, something bad happen. You can still be grateful. You can still be thankful. We can always find something. Now, I want to close with this as we close
Yeah.
and wrap us up. It's a really simple homework assignment I want to give folks, and it'll help them become the type of person that they want or that people will want to follow. I want you to just stop for a moment, and I want you to think about who's the person in your life that is the most attractive. And I don't mean physically attractive. They may be good looking, but I'm talking about people just love them. They walk in the room and everybody's like, Joan is here, or Stan is here, or what? Why is it? I don't know why I pick like these 70-year-olds names, but Megan's here.
Very good.
But they think about that person. Who is it? And I'm not talking about thinking about a generic Franken person that you're just making up in your head. I want you to think about a real live person. And it could be in your real estate career that around there. It could be a pastor, it could be a cop, it could be, I don't care. Think of that person, school teacher, whatever. Now, here's the key. Once you figure that person out, be like him. Just be like her. Just because it's working for them, right? And if that's what you respect and admire and love and are attracted to, then maybe it begs the question that if you were more like that person, that it would be more attractive, and so I would just say, pick a person who it's already working for. People love them, and be more like that person. And I don't mean don't be your personality trait. Maybe they're super over the top, like, hey, bam, 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 like I always think about the difference between the two guys, the legends in the speakers business that I worked with, Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar. And you could not have two bigger differences in personality, but both of them had these traits that just drew people to them. And so, so when I first was a young man in the career, I thought, well, I'm never going to be super over the top like Zig was, and I'm never going to be as quiet and reserved as Jim is. I can be me, but I can be the kinds of things that they are. And so I would suggest that it's not determined by personality. So find that person, think about that person, and be like that person.
Man, I think we can all do that. I think there's 2 or 3 of us. I know me that I'm thinking of 2 or 3 people right now. And there's just something special. There's something different. And we want to be a difference. We want to be difference makers. And so, hey guys, I really appreciate you join us today. My name is Chris Stegg. I've got Chris Widener here with me today. It's just such a joy and a privilege to share this time with you each and every single time we get to be able to come on this way. You can find us at bigmoradio.com, and we're here. We can't wait to find out a little bit more about you. If you want to work with us, you can inquire at bigmoradio.com, and we look forward to future episodes that we can give some nuggets, share some advice, and then we have some things that we're going to bring on. We've got some people that are influencers, that we've been able to develop over the years, and we're going to bring them on and have some.
I'm looking forward to that. Bringing on some guests too to join
interviews, yeah, and find out, okay, what is it? What makes you tick? What gets you up in the morning? And so I can't wait to do that. So thanks so much for joining us today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.